Cheri, the name of the exhibit, A Test of Love in Utah. Why that name?
Well, first of all, we thought it was important to have Utah in the name because these are all Utahns, and the whole purpose of the exhibit was to bring home the realization that AIDS is happening here in our state. And the test of love, we just felt that, for someone to become HIV positive was such a major question. Will I still be loved? Can I still be in a loving relationship? Will my parents love me? Do I still love myself? Those are the major issues that these people are facing. And that's why we thought the title was appropriate.
The exhibit contains heterosexuals, homosexuals, small children, toddlers, men, women, all different kinds of people. Was that something that you looked for specifically, or is that just how the exhibit happened?
I did really want to represent all the different walks of life, um, to let people know that AIDS is not discriminatory, that it does affect anyone from an infant to the grandmothers that are pictured whose grandsons have HIV. Um, However, I don't want to ignore the fact that the majority of people that are affected by AIDS are gay males. But I just felt to have the exhibit exact with the percentage of figures of people that are HIV in certain groups um, wouldn't bring home the message as much as what I want to say is that when it all gets down to the bottom line, that these are human beings, period. And it doesn't matter if they have an alternate sexual preference or really how they got it. They're human beings that need help, love, support, and acceptance in the community. And their lives are just as important as anyone else who may be from a different type of background or sexual preference.
Why did you choose black and white?
Because I feel sometimes the color may take away from the actual emotion of the photograph. And when you get down to the basics of black and white and just gray tones, I think you can concentrate much more on what the image and the emotion is about in the photograph.
Some of the photographs I noticed, you pictured the people full-faced or side view, obviously recognizable. Some of them were a little blurred. Some people only wanted to be photographed from the back. Does that mean the people who were anonymous, identified as anonymously, does that mean that people are still scared of the scrutiny that AIDS brings with it?
Yes, I had, I think, 9 anonymous shots, and I felt that they were really important. First of all, for these people just to trust me that I would take their photograph anonymously was wonderful. And I felt that having the anonymous shots with their statement really brings home the message, yes, I am afraid for anyone to know out in the public that I have AIDS. I am living alone with this disease, not only facing this terrible untimely death, but I'm afraid to ask for support and love and be recognized because of the stigma attached to AIDS.
Were the reactions different among the different people that you talked to, or did you find that more of their emotions were similar than actually getting?
I think they express it in different ways, but really when it comes down to it, their emotions were quite similar. Um, their priorities in their life had changed. The interest in material things or whatever was not there as much. It was about finding love in their life, finding fulfillment in whatever of their life was left, um, expressing their anger about what is going on, with an untimely death. From all walks of life, I would say that it came down to some real bottom line issues for them.
The people who attended the opening, I noticed, were also, very, very, people from all walks of life. Did do you expect the people who come to this to be people who have been involved with people with AIDS, or do you expect somebody to hear about it on the radio, read about it in a magazine, and be interested enough to come to the fire arts?
Well, I am really hoping that we will reach a wide variety of people, and that may not be at this first exhibit at the museum here. However, I have discovered in people that I had originally thought were more liberal some pretty intense prejudices against people with alternate sexual choices or people with AIDS. And that was actually one of the things that first motivated me was when I noticed this discrimination. So I would hope that there have been people that have gone through that were really affected by it and would be more willing now to reach out to PWAs. But we do plan to get on the Utah Arts Council traveling exhibition, and we're hoping to go into rural areas of Utah, Idaho, and Montana, and maybe into some other states and smaller places, maybe into a shopping center or mall here or the airport, to where we can reach more of a variety of people.
What you say that discrimination motivated you to do this exhibit. What were the origins?
Well, I had a friend at work that, through a confidentiality leak with his dentist, it had gotten out in our office that he was HIV positive. And I just noticed people started saying things like, I don't care if, I don't want to work with him, and who cares if those people die, and things like that. And, I care about those children. And then as I got more involved in the work, more attitudes would come up, and be even more negative. Why are you taking these pictures? Why don't you go take pretty pictures up in the mountains and things like that. So I guess that discrimination. And just then I really started thinking about, what it would be like to be diagnosed with a disease for which there's no cure and then to be discriminated against, versus someone that may have terminal cancer or something, which is also in a very difficult situation, but at least they have the love and support of their family and friends and openness about the disease and people from everywhere trying to help them, which is different than HIV.
People with AIDS don't like to be called victim. They like to be called people with AIDS.
Right.
Did you find that most of the people you talked to who took their photographs were victims?
No, in fact, the people that were willing to be photographed and make their statements were all people that were trying to live their life as fully as possible with whatever time that they had left, And I think that we just sort of ended up connecting because this experience for them was kind of a transformation to come in front of the camera, to have the courage to do that, to be photographed, and then, to allow me to choose the photograph and be publicly displayed with their most intimate statement about what their life is about at this point. Those are generally the people. So I really can't say that I have met anyone that feels that they're, a victim in some ways that, it may have been transmitted through blood transfusion. Sometimes those people feel that they are more of a victim.
How did you convince, I imagine a lot of those people that we talked to at first were very skeptical and interesting. How did you convince them?
Well, I would just, basically leave it up to them. But, I would tell them what my motivation was and that, we really wanted to bring this issue forward to provide more love and support in the community and to turn people's minds and that it was important to do that in Utah. And that, I talked to people that were shunned away by their own family, that maybe they had returned to Utah to die and their parents kept them inside the house but they didn't want the neighbors to know. And so they also had a desire for things to change. And even though it may not change in their lifetime, they could see that it was really necessary. So when I explained my purpose, their goals were basically the same, and they felt motivated in the same way.
You say in your statement that it is on display as well, that these pictures would not work unless they were accompanied by a statement from the people, and vice versa. Why the statement from the pictures?
Well, when I first started photographing, I realized that there was just so much emotion involved with these people at this point in their life, and they had so much to say and express. And I started off by interviewing them while I was photographing them, just having them talk and just question and answer kind of thing. But then I was ending up getting just reams and reams of cassette tape, and I thought, wow, it's going to take me months to go through this, and then I would have to be taking things out of context, because I may think that a certain thing was real important, then they may think something else was real important. And so that's when I came up with the idea of just saying, well, let's just try and write a one-page statement, which you saw some people couldn't write one page, which was fine. They did more, but basically I thought that it would be better for them to express what they were about, and that seemed to really bring the synergy of the statement and the photograph, really bring a much more clear representation of where they were at.
The figures that you have in the exhibit are at least 3,000 people in Utah are estimated to be HIV positive, and maybe 300 to 400 are diagnosed with the disease. Is an AIDS exhibit in Utah? It's a first, I would imagine, for Utah, but is it significant because of the small number relatively that are positive here?
Well, I think, you mean the small diagnosis compared to
Right.
the people that are positive? Yeah. That's pretty much, I believe, similar to nationwide figures also. That there's a tremendous number of people that are positive that do not know that they are, compared to the people that have been tested.
But as far as Utah being a different, a small number that are actually estimated to be HIV positive compared to other states.
Yeah, it's true. We do have a very low caseload. And that is one thing that, where we have a chance now, because we do have a low caseload, to try to change the attitudes, to build the support systems, to, prepare for the unfortunate growth of this disease. And like when I went into Cache County, I don't know how many cases they have, maybe 10 or 11, but they've already started support groups. They have a doctor there that's committed to helping the HIV patients. And so we can look at other cities like LA or Atlanta or whatever, see what they've done to deal with their per capita loads and prepare in advance. That is one good thing. And so perhaps by having the exhibit, that will really urge people to move forward and get ahead of it.
The one statement that probably was one of the most striking ones was Tyler's statement that, how did he put it?
Well, Tyler's 5, and when he was 2.5, he said to his adopted mother, Stephanie, Carolyn Spriggs, when I get really tired, I'm going to go and live with Jesus, but I'm not tired yet. He's an aware little kid. He knows, what his purpose is and what it's all about.
Was it easy to find with us?
Yeah, he was great, and I went over there I think 3 times, and he'd just run and do tricks on his bike and everything, and then he'd come back and rest for a little while because he knows that he needs to rest, but then he'd be up and all about and climbing in a tree for me, and playing with the hose and up on the fire hydrant, and he just was doing everything. He's really a fun kid.
What was the hardest part of that?
I guess when I was at the ceremony with the Gray family, and they were doing the anointing ceremony, which was just, I believe, one day before Randy died. And it was sort of a goodbye, a blessing through their tradition in the Catholic faith. And those are the pictures that you saw, probably the most I did of any one situation. I believe there's 6 total, where I photographed from the very beginning when Randy first became entered into the hospital here at the university, and through his death, the last day he was conscious, and then photographed his parents after. That was probably the most difficult, but also the most emotionally intense and rewarding for me.
Did you feel like after spending so much time with these families that you actually became a part of the situation, or were you always the photographer looking at the situation from the outside?
Well, that family I got really close to. Yeah, I really cared for them a lot. We talked a lot last night about how we want to stay in touch. And also the family from Salina I got really close with. There were some people that weren't that open, and maybe we didn't have a whole lot in common. And, it's still nice, and it was still a good experience. But there were some people that I really connected with.
The family from Salina, the twins?
No, it's 2 brothers, the hemophiliacs that are the east wall, I believe, the far wall of the museum. Yeah, Casey and Kurt. And Casey, unfortunately, was not there last night because he was put in hospital yesterday. He's 21, and his brother, 27, Kurt, who is HIV positive. They are the hemophiliacs from Salina, Cheri's only 2 kids.
Is the exhibit running through Sunday?
That's right.
And then it will start traveling around the state?
Yeah, well, we're hoping around the first of the year traveling around the state. But in the meantime, we're going to try, well, in fact, the Eccles Community Center said to us, just tell us when we want the exhibit. And then we also may do a partial exhibit up at Holy Cross Hospital.
How long did it take you to put the whole thing together?
I started April 1st, and I've been working pretty much every day in the evening.
You are not a photographer by profession.
No, not right now.
Is that someday you have to do that?
Yeah, I'd like to. I mean, I really like my other paying position also. It's quite a bit of fun. But this opportunity, this artistic, um, creative endeavor, I've really grown and changed a lot, and I would like to do that as a major part of my
If you had one thing to tell people who are looking forward to coming to the exhibit, or maybe people who aren't looking forward to it, who have no interest in it, is there any motivating factor for them, a message for the public that this exhibit contains?
Well, I just feel that it's too late to wait until HIV affects your life personally, until you have a friend or a cousin or a neighbor or something like that, who is dying of AIDS. And at the rate of the growth of the disease and the fact that there is no cure now, there are drugs for prolonging life and things are a lot better for someone that's diagnosed. However, it's something that potentially they estimate everyone will be touched by, either, their own disease or by a family member or a very close friend within the next 10 years. And so why not get involved now? And why not, spark your compassion and your interest and your knowledge
Thank you, Cheri.
of disease?